Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Cake MD with me, your host, Sally Elias Kezi. Today we're going to make the biggest cake I have ever made, a 3-foot long Sphinx cake. I have already made a white chocolate mold using a skull mold that I got from Sugar Geek Show. The link is in the captions below. I am using white modeling chocolate now to form what's called the Neem's head cloth around the Sphinx head. And modeling chocolate is super easy to use because it is so moldable. I have used 3 half-sheet cakes and 2 quarter-sheet cakes filled with ganache, and I needed about 6.5 kilograms of ganache. Here I have my helper / eater of crumbs. You will find throughout this video that there are times when I look super exasperated and tired because I almost gave up on this several times. It was so long and tedious. I used a parchment paper template to cut out the shape of my Sphinx with a serrated carving knife. And then I continued to build the hump of the Sphinx here and carving all along using my parchment template to get the right shape. Once I got the right shape, I carved out the legs, the hind legs, and also the chest. You can see I'm always referring back to my pictures. I covered the whole thing with a thick coating of ganache, but later on I changed this neck out to a Rice Krispie treat neck instead of a cake neck, as you see here right now. I smoothed out all the ganache all over his body, and then I realized I made a fatal error. I did not have a board big enough to accommodate his legs. So my dear wonderful husband stepped in with his brilliant idea to extend the wood board that the Sphinx was sitting on, and he also created kind of a palanquin for my Sphinx. Here we are drilling a hole in the head to stick it onto the rod that was screwed into the cake. And now I'm building the legs out of leftover cake scraps. If I had it to do over again, I would carve out the shoulders a little bit better to make it look a little bit more natural. I then cover the legs, the front legs, with some more chocolate ganache and smooth that all out. I redid the neck with Rice Krispie treats, which I found much more easy to work with as I was molding the shape of the neck as well as the Neem's head cloth extension that extended down to his shoulder. Then I covered all of that in more ganache and smoothed that all out as well. I then started laying large pieces of fondant, which is tropical satin ice fondant here, over his body. You'll notice that there's 2 different colors between the fondant and the modeling chocolate, but that won't matter in the end because we're going to airbrush the whole thing in gold, and that's going to cover it all up. Exasperated again. Almost done. So now I'm covering the neck with a last piece of modeling chocolate and cutting it out to fit. Then finally the end, I use a whole bottle of gold airbrush color here to cover the body, the head, and the neck and get it all the same tone. Here you can see I am super tired after 3 days of work, but I'm almost finished. Putting on some brown sugar as well to create a sandy effect, and then doing more gold airbrush color on top of the sand. I later added on more brown sugar all over the board. And here it is.